They're very good about that. The next language catalog was created 6 minutes later because if the Germans had one, they had to have one too.
Way before Spanish.
And after that, Japanese, French, Chinese, Dutch, Esperanto, Hebrew, Italian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, and Swedish.
However, there's no Klingon Wikipedia.
Not anymore. There is no Klingon Wikipedia anymore.
Oh, right.
There used to be.
There's a slide for that.
Esperanto is actually because one of our earliest developers, Brian Vibber, who's really amazing and is still was our first employee and is still a volunteer, is a fluent Esperanto speaker, and he was a large contributor early on. He was also the one who insisted that who was very happy to close down the Klingon Wikipedia. So. No competition from these languages that do not promote peace and goodwill, I guess. Oh, that was. Alright, that got out of order somehow. So now we have our multilingual portal, and if you go to wikipedia.org and you do not specify a language, you see this lovely page, which lists many languages. And so, one of our statisticians, Eric Zakta, is German, of course. He's Dutch. Has created also very enthusiastic about languages, has created a Wikipedia main page slideshow of main pages in many languages. Let me see if this will actually launch. Maybe not. It's showing on my screen, but it's not showing here. I don't know why. I bet it thinks that I have a second monitor.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to put it to like music, like right at about periods or something.
Alright, this is completely.
Actually,
Alright, so there's a lovely slideshow that I cannot watch from the screen.
Doesn't someone have...
I will turn around my laptop. Many pages in many languages. You don't need to read them. You just need to see that there are lots of different ones. I assume that the thinks that I have two displays and I do not actually.
Is this out on like YouTube or something where we can see it, or on cons or something?
This is on. I will post the link to the Wikipedia 10 page so that people can see it because it's on. It's just a
Oh, cool.
slideshow on stats.wikimedia.org.
Maybe we can show it at the break.
Maybe we can show it at the break. Like, what do you mean by dragging the video? Oh, like.
Wow. Thanks, Jeremy.
Reset the flex capacitor.
It's not that compelling. It's just kind of interesting.
Oh, it's a great slideshow. Play it down. Hey.
Too many tabs open. I didn't really want to reveal to you my terrible browsing habits.
Everyone just yell out the language.
Now I can't.
Once you recognize it.
Party game, identify the language while it happens.
Ooh. It's got a reclined bottle. It's the universal language of mathematics.
Alright, I can't find it over there. It's very difficult. Jeremy, you've dragged this over where I don't know where you've dragged it over.
Alright.
It's back in the same mode. Otherwise I cannot find it. So now we see all the Wikipedias sorted by number of articles. There are over 200 languages represented now. So still going. This is just 100 through 130.
Whoa.
Tell me what to do.
It's a short wave.
Jeremy, stand up again.
So in February 2002, the project was still in its pretty early days. It had only been around for a year, and we were trying to do the people involved were trying to decide how to support this thing because it was starting to get a lot of traffic compared to early on, and everybody else was making money on the web. Why shouldn't we? So we talked about the possibility of having ads. That was enough that the Spanish Wikipedia decided, like, we've had enough of this. We think it is contrary to the spirit of the project to fork. We don't believe in what you're doing. Or contrary to the spirit of the project to take ads and be commercial, we don't believe in what you're doing, we're going to fork. So they did. So one thing people may not realize is that each Wikipedia language community is mostly independent. They have a few shared core values, but the policies and the content may differ, and the processes and policies are often very different on several language editions. Most follow, a lot of them follow English, even the bad examples, but some of them are just taken up on their own. So Encyclopedia Libre was founded, and it still exists, but it is no longer thriving. Spanish Wikipedia overtook it in 2004. There are many other forks. Encyclopedia Libre was not the only one, but it was simply the first one that people had really noticed and that really had an effect. People realized that you could do this. This was an optional. This was a strategy to do. And several people who have disagreed with different decisions that the foundation has made, or they simply wanted to try their own option, have tried their own forks. The license allowed it. One thing that is said is that we have no competitors who are compatibly licensed because we can always share material back as long as the license allows it. None of them have overtaken Wikipedia. Some of the more interesting forks that exist, there is one that's called WikiInfo, which allows sympathetic point of view instead of neutral point of view, which allows you to write many articles sympathetic to the subject of the articles or sympathetic to whatever point of view you may hold. Another one is Citizendium, founded by an early co-founder, I'm not even going to try that debate, Larry Sanger, who's tried upholding different standards and more verification, more academic. And my favorite to look at, although when I don't think about it as a joke, I'm not as fond of it anymore, is Conservapedia, which is supposed to be written from a very strongly conservative viewpoint, which turns out to be the conservative viewpoint held by about 12 people in the world and not too many others. One other milestone in the history was the formation of the Wikimedia Foundation itself. Before, it was mostly Jimmy's personal project. He ran it off servers that he had or that belonged to his own company. It wasn't really community ownership. It was just something that they let people edit and was out there on the web. Then it became a more formal structure. The formation of the foundation was announced in June 2003, and it was later incorporated as a nonprofit, which it still is. So he became one of 5 board members. At first he was the chair, and now he is no longer. He is just one of 10 board members, and we have 2 board members in this room right now. The other 8 are spread around the world. The foundation exists to enable and extend the work of volunteers. So, following the formation of the foundation, we had the first fundraiser, and it raised a little less than $100,000, which was just amazing. People didn't expect that level of success. Now we raised about $16 million in about a month, which is just unbelievable, and we have about 60 employees, whereas 5 years ago there were about 3. So, and some of those employees are in the room, such as the Sage who's back there doing public policy and community work. There are people who do accounting full-time, which we really needed. We have a lawyer, or we're just hiring a new one. We have people who are doing outreach and business development and all sorts of things that was too much to ask of a volunteer to dedicate their life full-time to without being paid. So another moment in the history was the founding of the network of chapters. The first one with the Germans, of course, because they are first with everything. And many others. The newest is India, which is about a few weeks old. We've been talking about it for a long time, and we've really been hoping that a chapter would form in India, because it's one of the ones that's most unbalanced between the number of people who are on the internet and online or technologically able and who are editing Wikipedia. We don't have as much participation there as we think that we ought to. And maybe some of our Indian speakers will be able to speak a little more to that. But, so we hope that having a